Hello, welcome everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. We're going to get started here for a daily market recap. And we're going to do a live stream today, so we'll give it a few minutes for people to join on. And we'll get started here shortly. All right, I see we have some people joining on, so we're going to get started here in just a few seconds. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. It is Friday, March 12th. Hope everyone had a great day today. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to do a quick daily market recap for the day today. So we'll jump right into today's content. So we didn't really have much in terms of news, so we'll just go through the broader market here. So you can see that the crypto space was pulling back after another all-time high attempt, and that came after 2 days ago as well. We got within about $1,000 from the all-time highs, and we had a notable rejection of a few $1,000s. And then again, yesterday we had an all-time high attempt, came within a few $100s, and then pulled back a few thousand again. Litecoin is seeing some volume and a huge surge here at the moment. So leading, definitely standing out as the lead bull here. But taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, so we had a daily inside bar that broke bullish, and we were targeting all-time highs. And then today we had another daily inside bar that is looking to break bullish. We have resistance at 58,113. We got to 58,065 here on Coinbase, so still an inside bar. So if we break bullish, we'll likely be setting new all-time highs and blue sky breakouts. And if we break bearish, we'll be scouting daily consolidation. Speaking of daily consolidation, we had a brief consolidation period today on the S&P 500, and it's a possible daily bull flag at this point. And if we don't see any further consolidation next week, we'll be watching the new all-time high at 395.65. If we break that all-time high on Monday or some point next week, then we confirm the daily bull flag. But the low of the day today at 391.20 is going to be extremely important as well on Monday next week. If we lose that, we continue daily consolidation, and we can potentially target the EMAs sitting at EMA 12 at 387.77, and then after that EMA 26 at 386.07. But keep in mind that we were coming off a daily downtrend. We're no longer in a daily downtrend. We're essentially flat here. There is no trend at the moment. So we're essentially flat, and we're just waiting for direction. And we could see further consolidation. We have no daily support down to 371.88. So if we do see further consolidation, we could start to favor an equilibrium type setup. But at the moment, it looks like a daily bull flag is intact. So in terms of the broader market, we had XLF with a strong day today. So it had a gap up open while QQQ had a gap down open. So, but QQQ rebounded nicely, And like I said, XLF had a gap up and basically picked up the slack in terms of QQQ. We've been seeing this for a while now, where money has been rotating from the tech sector into the financial sector, and then the next day the financial sector will be down and money will rotate back into the tech sector. So as long as we're seeing that action, we're not going to anticipate a very big pullback on SPY, right? If all of these sectors are not pulling back at the same time, then SPY isn't going to see a significant pullback. So that's what kept SPY from falling today, and a huge change from last Friday. But we held weekly support. That was the key takeaway there. And like I said, we had a huge V-shaped bounce to all-time highs. Now we're just looking for potential bull flags into next week. But the dollar was pulling back. Not surprising. We got its daily bounce underway. We need to be cautious here of daily lower highs and a daily trend change. So if we lose support here at 91.36, that would confirm a daily downtrend with a lower high and a lower low. And that would be bullish for stocks if the dollar decided to pull back. So let's take a look at some other sectors. IWM closed the day up 0.5%, and we are at all-time highs. Again, no daily trend change yet. We broke the daily downtrend, but this is all coming off of the lows, and we need to be cautious of daily consolidation here. And when we see more names consolidate on the daily, that's going to hurt SPY. So QQQ still in a daily downtrend. It's also a potential daily bull flag as well. So we just take out the fib retracement. So touchdown perfect off the 0.382 fib. So that keeps the possibility of a daily bull flag alive. So we'll see. We need to break the high here at 319.86 first thing next week. But still in a daily downtrend, and bulls are attempting here a daily trend change, and that's going to be the case for most names. SPY will look to be closed near the high of the day, which is very bullish. On the weekly, we had almost an all-time high weekly close. Previous all-time high weekly close was 390.03 and 394.06. So it looks like we have a new all-time high close. So we could see further continuation next week, but we need to see daily trend changes. And the more names that confirm daily trend changes, the more confident we are as bulls. But we're still in weekly uptrends, monthly uptrends, no major red flags at this point. Taking a look at SPY on the weekly, since we just closed out the weekly candle, we closed above the 10-week moving average at 383.83. So that's bullish. The MACD and stochastic are still bearish, but could be lining up for a bull cross next week. In terms of the moving averages, we're still well above the 50, the 100, and the 200 weekly. And we did regain the 50. We closed well above the 50, which is down at 383.13 as well. So if we do see further consolidation on the daily next week, we could be targeting 383, which is the 10-week moving average, and which is also the 50-day moving average. We lost it and we've regained it, so we may need to come back down, test it again, confirm it as support. So if we do continue to pull back and negate that bull flag, then we could be targeting 383 as a potential bounce point. And we never lost the weekly VWAP either, or the 20 weekly moving average. So that was notable. Taking a look at oil. So oil with a daily inside bar. We'll be watching that range going into tomorrow. We actually broke it by 2 pennies, but ultimately closed back within. And need to be cautious here of daily lower highs. We're still in a daily uptrend. Just looking for this daily higher low here, but if we set a lower high here and we lose the low here at 63.16, that would confirm a daily downtrend. And the energy sector has been holding the market up as well. So if we start to see weakness in oil and the energy sector and the financial sector, and then follow through weakness with QQQ and the tech sector, that could end up being very, very bad for for asset bulls and stock bulls going into next week. Taking a look at silver. So silver was consolidating today on the daily. We could be setting daily higher lows. And again, daily trend change attempts are required and will be on deck here next week. And same with gold. Gold had a nice lower wick and dip buying there. Again, just looking for a potential daily trend change. If we break resistance of 1739, that would confirm a daily uptrend. And weekly higher lows would be set at that point. Silver, we need to break 2645 resistance. And I'm very, very bullish on gold. We had weekly support at 1670. And we got as low as 1676. And I am extremely bullish at the moment. Slowly starting to scale into some bullish positions, and like I said, adding on those daily higher lows, looking for daily trend changes. XBI, biotech sector, closed pretty much flat. Again, didn't really see much follow through. We broke the low of yesterday. XHB, home builders ETF, daily consolidation underway. XLE, again, broke the low of yesterday, not much follow through. XLF never broke the low, so again, as long as XLF and all sectors are not pulling back at the same time, we're not going to expect a huge pullback on SPY. XLV, the healthcare sector, broke the low of yesterday as well, but not much follow through, and closed back above the EMAs here. And at this point, again, we're just expecting daily higher lows and potential trend changes. It's all about those daily trend changes from here. So we'll take a look at some individual tickers. So on the bear list, we had VEGA, DOCU, BABA, and DocuSign actually got an upgrade today, so a little surprised that it was down today. Uber also got an upgrade today to $68. That is a name I'm extremely bullish on. So on the bull list, we had MVMD, BB, and AMC. And I have a position in MVMD as well. Nice to see up almost 11% today. And this looks like we started to consolidate on the daily, but we don't have a real clear pivot point here. If you wanted to say that was a daily trend change, I guess I wouldn't argue with you, but I'd like to see a little bit more of a clear pivot point. BlackBerry could see a potential daily 12 and 26 bull cross. We have resistance at 12.15. Closed the day strong, up over 10%. But again, all coming off the lows, hasn't changed its daily trend. Likely, in my opinion, likely tops out at 12.15 resistance, come down, set a higher low compared to the low here at 8.82, and then attempt a daily trend change. We also had an inside bar on the weekly that broke bullish. So that was a nice go signal. We knew to be scouting weekly higher lows. And if you didn't get in last week was a great opportunity to enter at 882 with a stop below EMA 26. And so in this scenario, if you would have entered on that pullback last week, you'd be up over 30%. So lack of resistance here on the weekly, up to $28. But again, I'm skeptical as we haven't changed the daily trend. SPY hasn't changed the daily trend. The tech sector is still in a daily downtrend. So again, I'm very cautious. So we're pretty much going to wrap it up there. Just going to see if we have any questions in the chat. Can you look up ULTA? Sure. My pleasure. ULTA. Ulta Beauty Inc. Whoa. Huge gap down. Looks like we had some news. Not seeing any. To benefit from resurgence in cosmetics demand, UBS says. Not seeing any news. I don't follow this ticker, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure what caused that. But on the weekly consolidation underway. We did bounce down off EMA 12, so could be forming a nice basis of support there. And it's in a weekly uptrend. EMA 12 has been holding since $200. So since all the way back here in October, since we crossed back above the exponential moving averages. So it's been holding since this entire weekly uptrend. So I'd be nice entry there though today on that weekly higher low, the stop below the EMA 12. If we lost EMA 12, you could scout an entry at EMA 26 down here around 281. We also have the previous weekly higher low at 276. So if you entered today with a stop below EMA 12, you'd have seen a decent return on your investment there and a decent trade. But again, if we lost 306.06 next week and EMA 12 sitting at 304.61, you could even set your stop under 300 to allow for a little bit of wiggle room, and then look to re-enter closer to weekly support. But that provided a nice entry today. The monthly, we're in a monthly uptrend as well. But we have no monthly support down until 250. So 250 cents. But we are close to all-time highs. So I'm not sure if you're looking to take a position. Maybe let me know in the chat. Are you in a position? Are you, let me know, where did you fill at? Are you looking for an entry? Are you looking to hold long term? That can help me provide a little bit better input. But everything's looking good. It's in a weekly uptrend, just like SPY. On the daily time frame, we lost the daily uptrend today with that nasty gap down. Oh, we had earnings. That's what it was. So they had a surprise beat as per trading view, but maybe they had poor guidance, or they had a loss, or they missed on revenues. I'm not sure. Oops. So if you just go to investing.com, search up the ticker. And you probably know more about this than I would, as I don't really follow this stock personally. So it looks like they beat 2.2 billion versus 2.07 forecasted, and then a huge beat on the EPS there, 341 versus 231. So yeah, they must have had poor guidance, I would think. But nasty gap down, and on big volume as well. So we have a huge gap here as well. So if we were to confirm an hourly uptrend, that could be a nice entry. But the RSI on the hourly was also crushed. And we hadn't been oversold on the RSI since all the way back here in February, the beginning of February. And then coming off that big bull move, usually hourly oversold conditions provide good entries. So today on that massive gap down and RSI getting crushed would have been a nice entry as well, with a stop below 300 psychological. So definitely a nice trade there today off of that support, but you're looking at not a huge bounce, only about 6%, but we are consolidating here on the hourly. So this could be a nice trade as well. Cautious of a bull trap, but if we hold these higher lows and we break resistance here at 325.60, that would confirm an hourly uptrend, and our daily higher lows and our temporary bottom on the daily would be set here at 306.06. So if you're looking for entries, maybe you want to wait for an hourly uptrend to be confirmed. So say if we break 325.60, you enter on a confirmation of that hourly uptrend and daily higher low, and then look for a potential gap fill up around 346.55. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. So bounce down perfectly off the 10-week moving average. So another a lot of confluence there on that level. We did cross bearish on the stochastic, but the MACD is still bullish. It was trending bearish, but ultimately saved it here into the end of the week. So I would consider this still very bullish. But we have the 10-week moving average at 309.33, and we closed above it. So again, a nice entry there off that 10-week moving average. We could be seeing a bull cross of the 50 and the 100 and 200 weekly moving averages as well, which would be very bullish for the stock. On the daily time frame, and we bounced perfectly off the 50-day moving average as well. So a lot of confluence in that area. We had the weekly EMA 12 that's been holding for a very, very long time. And we bounced perfectly off of that level. We bounced perfectly off of the 10-week moving average and the 50-day moving average. We lost it briefly, but we regained it. 50-day sitting at 309.43. So again, nice entry there based on those weeklies and the 50-day moving average with a stop below 300. We're still well above the weekly VWAP and 20-week moving average, so it's looking good. That's generally when you want to be buying, right? Is when we're in weekly uptrends and you have a nice visual guide like the EMA 12 here that's been holding for rock solid for quite a while. You know, when we're in weekly uptrends like that, that's when you want to be buying. So if you're at, you know, I mentioned this in a private live stream today in our group, is you want to be buying on weekly consolidation and not be buying on, you know, all-time highs and near resistance. An example of that would be BlackBerry. So last week at 882 would have been a nice entry there off EMA 26, and we had a lot of people just, you know, on YouTube and in our group who were, you know, very just panicking and, you know, wondering if they should sell. It happened with a few other MJ names as well, and SPY was getting close to its support, and we were getting close to EMA 12 support and 26, and you know, that now's the time where you wanted to be scouting entries, not selling, right? So if you're looking to sell, you got the psychology all backwards, and that's typical. Like that's not, you know, that's pretty common among new traders and investors. Is we typically, I was the same way, right, when I first got started, and it has to do with FOMO and fear, right? It's greed and fear, and they're very, very powerful emotions. And what you typically find when you first start investing or trading is you're like, oh man, every time I buy, it goes down. And every time I sell, it goes up. And that's because most people have the psychology wrong. Like I said, when we're seeing these weekly bounces, that's when you want to start, you know, potentially scaling out or scouting bearish entries and short entries. And then when we're pulling back on the weekly, that's when you want to start scaling in and playing off of support, right? So I know it's very easy to get caught in the panic and whatnot. So don't worry, we're all human, but just try and catch yourself and just realize, you know, where we're at, where the psychology is at. Why did you want to buy now versus why didn't you want to buy last week when the market was tanking, right? So again, just be cautious. The market's at all-time highs. We know nothing goes up forever, but we're still in weekly uptrends. And as long as that remains the case, I'm not seeing any major red flags, and I'm still ultimately very bullish in terms of stocks and the overall risk assets, you know, crypto, stocks, that type of thing. So just see if we have any other questions here, but we're pretty much going to wrap things up. Sean, thanks, but I needed to go up around 350. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, 350. Yeah, all-time high is 368. So again, if you bought it at 350, that's kind of what I was getting at just a second ago, right? Is you're buying near all-time highs, and generally, as a rule of thumb, that's something I never do. I always wait if it's a longer term hold. I always wait for weekly consolidation or daily consolidation. But yeah, it just seems that you might have entered a little too soon, obviously, and now you're in a red trade. But if your average is 350, then what I would do if I were in your shoes is set a stop below 300, like a hard stop. And if it were to lose 300, get stopped out, look to reload around the 290s, 280s, even the 270s. Like I said, we have prior weekly support at 276, so you might be able, or you could sell half, and look to reload cheaper. That's one option as well. But let me know, Sean. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Holding till next week. Yeah, well, hopefully, SPY, we see that daily bull flag follow through and everything works out in your favor. Boozy did insanely well today. Kathy Wood just started investing not so long ago. Smart AR glasses for workplaces in healthcare, warehouses, technicians, etc. Yeah, I think Google. Is it Google that's working on some smart glasses as well? It's one of the big companies. Let's just take a look at it. Yeah, so again, similar to ULTA, we bounced off EMA 12 here the last 2 weeks. So last week we had a low of 1274. This week we had a low of 1352. We dipped below EMA 12 each time, but we ultimately closed back above. And that's generally when you want to be entering, is on weekly consolidation. If you're bullish and you're looking to get in for the long term, or you're looking for a swing position, generally you don't want to be buying close to all-time highs, right? But yeah, stock is extremely strong. It was just at $3 not that long ago. But yeah, I'd be cautious. Again, we've run quite a bit now, and we're starting to see volatility pick up. And again, if SPY doesn't confirm a daily bull flag and we see further daily consolidation, we have no real support down to 371. And VUSI, we lost the daily uptrend. And just like SPY, this move's all coming off of the low. And now we're closer to resistance at 2608 than we are support down here at 1274. So closer to resistance now than support, but we did close near the high of the day. Stock looks extremely strong. Looks like we have earnings on Monday, so that's something to be aware of. If you are in a position, could see some volatility leading up, and Monday's my birthday as well. So if you are in this name, hopefully we get some nice birthday gains. But yeah, it's looking good. We lost the uptrend, but bulls have a ton of room now. We're just going to anticipate a lower high compared to 2608 as the most likely scenario. And based on the size of this pullback and bounce, we would anticipate something like this where we see an equilibrium, and we could just tighten up for the next few days and weeks and see this play out. But chances of us breaking through 2608 here are pretty slim, given the fact that we've already run quite a bit from the lows here. So we've already run 75% thereabouts. So how much really are the bulls really going to get? How much further move are they going to get from here? We're likely, in my opinion, going to top out, if not topping out now, likely top out somewhere around the $22, $23, maybe even $25, and then come down, set a higher low. We'll look for a daily trend change, just like SPY, just like 90% of, if not more, of stocks. A lot of people are asking me about individual stocks, and I basically just say that everything's pretty much following SPY for the most part. Doesn't mean that individual stocks can't go against the trend and do their own thing, but 95% are going to be tracking SPY in the overall broader market here. But hopefully that helps. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the birthday wishes. And I'll stay on for a couple seconds here actually. Let's bring up, since we did have the weekly candle close. So again, bounced off the 10-week moving average. MACD is just blasting off here. Stochastic is bearish, but we've got 2 of our 3 macro indicators bullish. And like I said, we held the 10-week moving average twice. So not only did we hold the daily EMAs here, we held the weeklies on both of these pullbacks and the 10-week moving average that was there as well. And we're seeing a bull cross here of the 50, the 100, and the 200 weekly moving average. That's extremely bullish, but we saw that cross a couple of weeks ago. So I'm questioning how much of that has already been priced into this move. But wow, what a move. Congratulations to any bulls on this name. And then, yeah, very similar to ULTA. Bounced off the 10-week moving average, held the EMAs, held the 50-day moving average. I wish you would have told me about this name last week. Never even heard of it. Add that to my watch list. Thanks for sharing. So we'll wrap things up. I know it's Friday, and a lot of people probably wanting to get out and enjoy the weekend. I know I am. But I'm having fun. We'll stay on for a little bit here. I see we have a couple more questions. Yes, bro. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. Didn't want to brag, but dollar cost averaged in at 388. Earnings Monday will be interesting. Nice. Yeah, just be careful with dollar cost averaging. The market can always go lower than we think. And there's a saying that goes, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And that basically just means that it can keep going lower longer than you can keep throwing dollars at it, right? And classic example of that is Aurora. I used that example today. I remember when Aurora was at like $14 and $12, Aurora fell down to like $10, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's such a good deal right now. It's on a discount," and then it's down to $8, and oh my God, it's on sale. It's a fire sale, and then $6. Oh my God, backing up the truck, $5, and then it just kept going lower, and then we were into the pennies. And that's my point, is it can always keep going lower. So yeah, I mean, dollar cost averaging is a strategy. I use it a lot, but I usually try to either, if I'm doing dollar cost averaging for a long-term position, like I'm investing in a stock, let's say it's something I don't want to set a stop loss on, like Uber. I don't care about setting a stop on Uber. I think Uber's extremely undervalued, and in a few years, I think it could easily be worth a few $100s, if not $1,000 at some point. So I don't really care. I don't set a stop loss on that type of investment, but I will dollar cost average down on Uber. But again, I'm only risking about 1 to 2% of my net worth. So if it went to zero, I don't care. But if I'm dollar cost averaging on a shorter term position, like a swing position or something like that, for example, I'll scale into, say, weekly support or daily support or maybe the EMA support. And then I'll dollar cost average down while we're looking for weekly higher lows or daily higher lows. And then I'll set my stop under the previous weekly higher low, right? So dollar cost averaging is a great strategy. You just have to be cautious in how you use it. But it seems like you're doing pretty well, so congrats. Hi, Rod. How do you see Hexo going into the next week? Should we add more to our position or wait until the earnings date? Good question. So I was going to do another MJ video. I probably still will. I'm not sure if I'll do a live stream for that one, but I'll answer that question. So Hexo next week, should we add more to our position or wait till the earnings date? I think you mean like, well, they report in the morning. So unless your account's set up to trade pre-market, you won't have the opportunity to buy in until after the results come out pre-market. So the move would have already probably happened, whether it be to the upside or the downside. I'm expecting a beat, and Zach's Zacks, the website there, Zacks Investing, I think it's called. They have a surprise beat. I think they're forecasting about a 10% surprise on their EPS, I think it was. So I'm bullish. We could see a huge move. And like I said, if we do see a huge move and you wait until Thursday, then we could be up, if we're up 10, 20% in the pre-market or something based on a huge blowout and amazing numbers. If you wait till Thursday, then you could risk buying the top, right? It could be we could gap up, and then usually gap ups are for selling. And if you bought right when we opened, that could, again, earnings could be bad. I could be wrong. And I'm not, saying that I have a crystal ball or anything, but my situation's a little different. I'm using my profits. I started to buy Hexo around $2, $3. And then I started to scale out above $7. So I sold a bit at 7, sold a bit at 8, sold a bit at 9, sold a bit at 10. It kept going to over $11. I felt FOMO for sure, but we knew the most likely scenario was it was going to pull back and at least set some daily higher lows. And then it pulled back from $11 to $5, right? So then I started scaling back in at around $7, $6. I even got some under $6, around $5.90, $5.70, $5.60. And I was buying last week, right? So when Hexo was down to $5 USD last week and got down to about $7 Canadian, that's when I was buying in preparation for the earnings. So if you weren't buying then, you're kind of chasing at this point. I'll bring up the chart here. It'll be easier for me to just convey what I'm trying to say. So last week we had support at 604. So from the high at $11, we were down 50%. So we had 50% retracement. So we basically gave back that whole move. And if you had 10,000 shares of Hexo here, and then you sold and you rebought here, you would now be able to load 50% cheaper. You'd now have double the shares. So you'd have 20,000 shares. So that's the power of using technical analysis and just looking at the most likely scenario. We hadn't consolidated on the daily from 613 and we ran almost 100%. So that's why I was scaling out into strength, knowing that we were likely going to pull back. We still had a while before earnings, so we didn't really have any immediate catalysts. The whole sector started to pull back. Canopy filed a base shelf for $2 billion in possible added securities to their, to their market cap. So doesn't mean they're going to raise, but that added some, bearish momentum. And again, that's when I started to scale out because I knew the most likely scenario, we had no daily support. I knew the most likely scenario was daily consolidation, and look what happened. We came down, tested the EMA 26, and we were still in a daily uptrend. Like that's insane. We pulled back 36% and we were still in a daily uptrend. And that's why I was cautioning so heavily back here. But then I started to enter bullish here, right? So at 691, I entered, that's when I started to scale back in around $7. I think I even bought a bit at $8 when we had a test of EMA 12. And we got down to EMA 26. I bought a bit more. Then I sold it as well. I just sold it and reloaded a little bit cheaper. I have a no-touch long-term account as well. But in my day trade and swing trade account, I bought in around $8 and then around $7. And then when we bounced up here to about 9, I sold a bit there. And then I reloaded even cheaper. And then we hit 660. We held that 604. And then we hit a daily downtrend. And we lost support at 604. We went stop loss hunting. If you remember, SPY was testing weekly support. So the S&P 500 at that time, SPY never lost weekly support. And we started to bounce. And that was the go signal. So if you didn't add there, now you're risking buying the top again, right? At least for now, because we don't have earnings until next Thursday pre-market. So we've got 3 more trading days, 3 more full trading days until Hexo earnings on Thursday morning before the market opens. So we could pull back and form a daily high or low. Keep in mind, we're still in a daily downtrend. and we're close to resistance here at 788. So we're closer to resistance than we are support. And just like back here, we know that the most likely, it's not quite the same because this was extended and we had almost 100% move. This from the low, we're only up about 30%, a little over 30%. But again, we're in a daily downtrend. So when you're in a daily downtrend, what's the most likely scenario is a daily lower high, right? So if we break 788, that will remove the downtrend. We'll no longer be in a downtrend. But then we still need to form a higher low and a higher high. So we want to come down, form a higher low, and then a higher high. That would give us that daily trend change attempt. And then we'd need to break resistance at 763 to confirm. So if, let's say Monday, say if SPY starts to consolidate further on Monday and we see further weakness in the broader market, and if Hexo comes down here to say 660 or even 670 and starts daily consolidation, that's when it would be a good idea to enter, in my opinion. But again, we're close to resistance. So if you bought it now around these levels, you risk topping out here. And then we pull back to we could even pull back to $6, right? We just have to form a higher low compared to 558. So we could pull back to 560 and still just be looking for daily higher lows and daily trend changes. So if you're not in at the moment, transport, excuse me, if you have 0% in Hexo at the moment and you're looking to add, just keep in mind that earnings are risky, and I'm trading through earnings, but that's only because I'm very confident in the stock and I want to hold it long term anyway, and I'm comfortable with the risk because I sold into profit here and I was up over 100%. And when we got here, when I got to 100%, I had six figures I had close to six figures in Hexo back here, and actually I had 5 figures, and then I sold it, and then I had 6 figures. So I took out my initial investment at just over $7 when we had whenever I had that 100% confirmation. Then I took out my initial investment, and then I'm just riding profits, right? And then I just started to scale out. So that 50% remaining, I started to scale out here when we started to consolidate here on the daily. We held the MA12, so there was no red flags. And then that remaining 50% that I had, I scaled out at, $8, $9, $10, and then I was 100% out, minus my small 1% no touch, long-term, 3 to 5, 10 years out. But in my swing trade account, I was 100% out. And then but again, I'm only using 50%, which is the profits. So then I kept my initial investment out. And then when we started pulling back here, I took that profit and then I started to scale back in around $8 and $7. Then I flipped it again around $9. Then I reloaded cheaper here. And then I loaded up even more at $5.90, $5.70, $5.60. And then I sold a bit at $6.70, $6.60, $6.90, sold a little bit over $7. And now I'm only about 10% in Hexo at the moment in my swing trade. So I was, 50% of my profits, and now I'm only about 10% of a position that I want to hold. So I'm only holding about 2,000 or 1,500 shares of Hexo at the moment in my swing trade account. Again, in my long-term no touch, I've got 1,000 shares that I'm sitting on and I'm not touching them for years and years. But in my daily swing trade account, because we're just anticipating lower highs, I'm only holding about 10%, so a couple of thousand shares. And when we consolidate, if we consolidate on the daily, I'll add a few more thousand shares around 670 or 680. Maybe I'll scale in a little bit at 680, 670, 650. Try to get it around $6 and then set my stop below the low here at 556. That's going to be my game plan. But again, if you're entering new here with new money and you're not trading with profits, it is fairly risky as we're close to resistance. We have earnings coming up. It's not a guarantee, even though I'm extremely bullish. We know it's not a guarantee. So again, just be cautious if you're playing through earnings with new money. Anything can happen, so you need to be prepared for all scenarios. All right, so we'll just take another quick peek here. But yeah, let me know, Mr. Transport. Hopefully that answers your question. Hi, everyone. Hope you had a green week. You as well. Thanks, Renee. Can't wait to see you. That's going to be fun. It's going to be an awesome week. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go. Bring on those birthday gains. All I want for Christmas. Yeah, it's not Christmas, but all I want is those Hexo gains. Awesome thoughts. Thanks. Love Hexo too, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome, WMB and WB. You're welcome, Transport. And thanks for the birthday wishes. Hope you have an awesome weekend as well. Yep, I am bullish for next week on Hexo, but it's going to be interesting to see how the overall market responds and what it has to say about it. If you recall, the last time they had good earnings in the summer, they had a blowout earnings, and stock was up huge, and then SPY just started falling off a cliff and basically ruined all the fun. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So we'll leave it there. Thanks again, guys, for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth for a daily market recap. I wish you all the best weekend possible, and we'll see you again next week after market close.